Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Pilipich. I'm a registered dietitian based in the New York City area. And today I am bringing to you the first of a few videos that will be part of the Health at Every Size read along. So Health at Every Size is this book. It's a book by Dr. Linda Bacon that presents a philosophy, a method of approaching your health that has influenced the way a lot of health professionals practice, and I consider myself one of them. I'm a dietitian who works from a Health at Every Size approach, and it's controversial, I think, especially to people who don't really know the details of it but have just heard it for the first time. Just the name Health at Every Size often makes people have a lot of assumptions, and a lot of those assumptions aren't true. Maybe some of them are. A lot of questions come up, and that's why I wanted to do this read along. I recently ordered the book for myself so that I could own it as part of my professional library, and after getting it, I wanted to reread it. I read it in grad school, so this is my second time through, and I thought I'm going to go through it with all of you, with whoever wants to watch, to hopefully answer questions, debunk some myths, and also question things for myself, look at it with a critical eye as a professional so that I can just better understand how I'm choosing to practice. So today I wanted to talk about the preface and introduction to the book. So this is just a basic intro, and then next week we'll get into the chapters. So if you don't have the book, you have time to get it. If you don't want to get it or don't want to read it, that's fine too. You can just watch and listen along and hopefully still learn something. So in the preface and intro of this book, the author mentions some points that I want to highlight just to give an idea of what this is going to be all about. She points out a lot of ways that dieting doesn't work, a lot of things that people are used to when they go on diets or see people go on diets, the patterns that show up. So one example is family members who would be showing a lot of self-control around food, and then a day later you realize, oh, the whole bag of chips is gone, an entire cake is gone, and it's hinting at an example of the restrict binge cycle, how dieting can become yo-yo dieting because you restrict yourself and then end up overeating, and that cycle just continues, and that's not really a healthy pattern of behavior. Another example that's brought up is exercise, and how people can exercise and be active and be taking part in healthy behavior by doing sports and all those things and still be at a heavier weight. So there are plenty of higher weight people who are active in sports, are athletic, but that behavior doesn't cause them to lose weight. So why are we using weight as sometimes a sole determinant of health when that's not really accurate? And then some science is brought up too. So I really like this book because it's not just about personal stories, it's about research and science, it's evidence-based, and that's really important for me as a healthcare professional, and I think for anyone, if you're gonna follow something, you wanna know that it really makes sense. And so something that's interesting that is talked about is how dieting activates genes in our body called thrifty genes, which are genes that promote weight gain. So they increase hunger signals and decrease metabolism, among other things. And it's called thrifty because that's a way for the body to hold on to food like in times of starvation when you need to. You're being thrifty by storing weight, storing food. But dieting is a false way of kind of tricking the body into thinking it's starving. So obviously not good for us. We don't want to be telling ourselves that we're starving when we're really not. I do want to read just a couple of quotes, passages from the book. So this one from the preface, I think, does a good job of outlining what this approach is about. I think that one of the assumptions is that health at every size means every person at every size is healthy, period. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to care. Everyone's just healthy and we're not going to worry about it. But that's not what it's about. It is about focusing on healthy behaviors, and some sizes are not healthy. You know, the extremes at either end are not healthy, but the healthy range is much wider than most people think, is how I tend to explain it to my clients. And so I like this passage in explaining what this approach tells us about achieving a quote unquote healthy or normal weight, and just what health at every size can do for you and your body. So I'm stalling, let me get to it. Okay, it says, your body is ready to help you achieve a healthy weight if you simply allow it to do its job. You can reclaim sensitivity to its signals, and you can also adopt lifestyle habits such as changing the types of foods you eat and your activity habits that will improve your health and support you in achieving and maintaining the weight that is right for you. In other words, the best way to win the war against fat is to give up the fight. Turn over control to your body and you will settle at a healthy weight. And regardless of whether you do lose weight, your health and well-being will markedly improve. You will find that biology is much more powerful than willpower. And that's what this is about. Focusing on the behaviors, doing the right things, and letting the body settle and realizing that that's healthy, whether it is at a weight that society deems okay or not. So I think that that is a really good way of putting it. Another thing that is touched on in the introduction is the research, the Health at Every Size study. And so the author did a study taking a group of people who wanted to lose weight, putting them in two groups, the weight loss group and the Health at Every Size group, and testing kind of dieting versus this Health at Every Size, or HAES as it's sometimes abbreviated, approach. And what's so interesting is the people in the Health at Every Size group had a better relationship with food at the end, better cholesterol, better blood sugar control, all these health outcomes. And the dieting group had none of those health outcomes, and they ended up regaining the weight that they lost on the diet. So when we're talking about health in a holistic way versus weight, this approach clearly is so much better than dieting. It really wins. And the book will get more into the study, but the intro just gave a little primer to it. And so the last thing that I wanted to read was a quote from a participant in that study, someone who came into the study and was disappointed to be put in the Health at Every Size group. She came in wanting to diet, wanting to lose weight, and thinking, well, how the heck am I going to feel better if I don't diet? Which is what so many people think, and maybe that's what you're thinking just listening to this or hearing the title of the book. And so at the end, she says, after hearing about the approach, sitting in the meeting, talking about the study, learning about this way of life, she says, in that moment, I understood. It was the dream of weight loss that clouded my ability to be happy with myself, not the weight itself. Perhaps Health at Every Size can finally help me feel better about my life and myself. Interesting. A question that is brought up by the author is, what is beneath your weight loss? Why do you want to lose weight? And I think that's a good question to leave you all with. Maybe you are someone who struggles with your weight and body image and is thinking, well, is this for me? Let me learn about this. Maybe it's kind of like a last straw after a string of diets. Maybe you're a professional questioning this approach, whether or not you want to use it. And that can be an important question for your clients. And maybe none of the above, and you're in another category, and you can tell me what that is because I'm interested. The intro says this is a book about healthy living. It's not just a cop out, a way to do whatever you want and not care about your health. It is about health. It's just such a different approach that sometimes it might seem like it's not. It's very against the grain, but that doesn't mean that it is not going to help you. So think about that question. What's beneath your desire to lose weight? What's beneath the weight loss? If you fall in the camp of someone who is struggling with your weight or has in the past. And I would love for you to leave a comment on this video with any questions you have about Health at Every Size, any immediate reactions you have to hearing that title or that phrase, what it makes you think, what your assumptions are, and we'll talk about those. I would love to be able to answer questions in the future videos. And if you're going to be reading along, let me know if you're going to be reading the book or just listening to the conversation. I would love to know, and I am so excited to dive in. So next time, part 1, chapter 1 through 3 will be our discussion, and I hope to see you back here. Thanks.